Hello, Brother Sewing and Crafting family. Angela Wolf here, and I'll give you a tip for today. I can't really give you a tip. I'm sitting down. I was thinking of jumping up, jogging, working out. It's all about fitness. Yes. And no, we are not going to be doing the jumping jacks in this show, but we're going to show you how to make some really cute clothes that you could use for your jumping jacks. How's that? So welcome, say hi. We are live on Brother YouTube and Facebook, and we have two fabulous people joining us. Can you guess? Did you see the title? Yes, we've got Laura Pifer and Emily Thompson, and we are talking about leggings and everything working out. We're going to be using the serger and a lot of fun things. So pop in, say hi, and let's bring up our other friends here. We've got Laura. How are you, Laura?
I'm good. How are you?
Great to see you. We've got Emily Thompson. How are you, Emily?
Good. Glad to be here.
I know. Well, at least you're standing. I was going to do jumping jacks and I'll fall out of my chair. Let's just not do that.
I know my arms.
We'll get Rose up there to do some jumping jacks for us. So I'm very, very excited. We've got a couple great lessons for you. Emily, tell them a little bit about what you're going to be showing, and then we'll start with Laura.
So I'm going to be showing you kind of a simple hack to add a side pocket to any legging pattern that you have. So it's easy, fun, and you can add it to your favorite legging pattern.
Okay, so I'm just going to laugh about that. I wonder if you could refashion, because I usually make my own leggings, but I was a little bit short of time last year in November, and I bought a couple of pairs. I think it was on Black Friday because they were on sale. So
Yes.
I put them on, and I went to go for my walk, and guess what? There is no side pocket in the leggings for my phone, and I can't go for a walk without music, so I was like, forget it. I won't go for the walk.
It's all over.
It's all over. But I think Laura's going to maybe help us with that. Laura, what are you going to show?
So I'm going to show you guys how to make this really cool little arm sleeve pocket. And so you just wear it on your arm, this little iPhone, you stick your iPhone in there, and then you just wear it on your arm right here. My son loves these. He loves to go run with his phone. And then you just put your phone right inside there. There's a little
Problem
pocket.
solved. Problem solved. And iPhone is not a brother product. Everyone knows that.
Oh,
But
I'm
you
sorry.
kind of got the idea.
I meant a phone.
So
You just go like this and place it in this little pocket right here, and then fold it over like that, and then you just place it right on your sleeve. You can
okay,
even get
so
it here.
I have a solution to my leggings then. Okay, so we have two solutions. You can make your own leggings and add your pocket, or you can add a pocket to the side. Either way, both are going to be fun.
Exactly.
All right, Laura, we'll let you kick it off.
Okay. So it's actually really easy. I might have to move this, so excuse me while I do that. See, I have my Brother SE700, and what you're going to do, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to want to use, here, let me move back while I talk, sorry. The first thing you want to do is you want to use a fabric that has 4-way stretch. I prefer like an athletic knit or anything like that, even like swimsuit material. I have this pretty little spring vibe right here. And you're going to have two pieces. That's it. It's just two pieces. You'll have a longer piece for the front pouch and then a shorter piece for the back pouch. The measurements are 16 by, okay, well, actually, let's do the measurements really quick. So you're going to want to get the circumference of your arm. And then what you'll do is you'll divide that in half and then add 1/2 inch per side. So for example, say my circumference of my arm is 10 inches, then it would be divided by 2, 5 inches, and then add for the seam allowance 1/2 inch, so 5.5. And I'll also add, this is on my blog, so if you get caught up in the directions that I'm going really fast or it's hard to see, don't worry, you can head over to the blog and it's very descriptive right there. So let's start with, we got the fabric, we got the measurements. Now the front piece measures 16 inches by 5.5. And then the back piece, the back piece measures 8 inches by 5.5. And then what you're going to do is you're going to fold over. So all 4 pieces, or both 2 pieces, you're going to fold over all sides. So the top and the bottom. 1/2 inch, and then we're going to zigzag stitch each side. So I'm going to start that. I'm going to pull you guys up so you can see a little better now that I'm sewing. All right, so, oh no. Sorry, my machine came unplugged when I moved it. All right, one sec. So we're going to fold these over in 1/2 inch. I'm going to set my machine up to the zigzag stitch. I like mine to be about 3.5 by 2.0. And then we're going to stitch all these edges down. And if you have like a walking foot, that's really good for this tricky material. So we're doing all 4 sides. And sometimes you might need to kind of lift the presser foot because this material can be kind of tricky. And I also sometimes will use tearaway stabilizer for embroidery just to kind of keep it on track. So it's kind of getting off a little bit, but anyways, I did step outs, okay? So we're going to do some step outs for this. You're going to do all 4 sides, so it's going to look like this now. So you got top, bottom, 1/2 inch over, and then the back. So all nice and hemmed. Now the next part we're going to fold. This is the front pouch. We're going to fold this up here to about about 2 inches left on the top, right here, this little fold. And then you're going to fold that over. So it's going to look like this. And then what we're going to do is we're going to want to clip or pin these sides together. So you're forming a loop. And I'll show you that. So there's the first pin, clip. And then right here. So you can see it's folded over right here. That's the little pocket. When we stitch, we do not want to stitch this side. We're making a loop almost. And then I'm going to use, again, the zigzag stitch. I'm going to remove this and pull this closer. All right. And you don't even really have to pull it around if it's not going to fit. Just gives you a little bit more room to move right here. All right, so now we're going to go through these layers. We're just stitching down that little pocket flap. And the seam allowance is 1/2 inch. Repeat for the other side. Make sure the bottom layer isn't in there. All right, so the first part is done. You'll see you got this little front pocket. Oh, hi from Atlanta, Miss Peachy. I live in Georgia as well. All right, so now I'm going to take the back piece, okay? And then what we're going to do is this is where it kind of gets tricky. So if you get confused again, the blog is a great place to go. But you're going to place this on the front like this. And then we're going to flip it. So right sides together, front, back, and yeah, front, back, front, front pocket. Okay, remember we have this little loop right here. And the top part is where the pocket kind of folds right here. But anyways, you're going to flip it. You could clip it in case so it doesn't move when you flip it. Is everyone following?
Laura, this is such a cute, fun project. I'm going to bring you back up here. I put a post to your blog so everybody could see if they want to see the full one, but this is so much fun. And somebody asked one quick question while you're pinning that. What is that fabric again?
So this is just a polyester athletic knit. But there's, you know, any fabric with a 4-way stretch, you could even use like a swimwear fabric. Or
I was thinking when you were cutting that, we were talking about refashioning the other day, and I've got a couple of older bathing suits that I'm not going to wear. And I was thinking this would be a great way to cut it up and use it because it's 4-way stretch.
Yeah, for sure. And it's not that, as far as the measurements go, it's very something you could do with scrap fabric for sure.
Love it.
Yeah, so this is where it kind of gets tricky, but again, we have it on the blog if you're confused. And then you just flip this so that the inside is all in there. And now the easy part, make sure it's all nice and tucked in. And I like to start at the bottom just because if it's off down here, or I mean, you don't want it off down here. Mainly you can adjust at the top, you know, and then all we're going to do is sew now right sides together on both sides, that little pocket tucked in there. So let me just make sure everything is nice and straight. I'm trying to do some of these tutorials like up like this is, you know, sometimes the projects can get a little messed up if I'm not making sure all the pieces are together. All right, I like clips too for this material. All right, let me put this back on. I don't like sewing without this unless I have to. All right, and then now again, we're doing a zigzag stitch, and you'll want to do about a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Making sure you're getting all the layers. So there is about 3 layers right here. And one side done. And now we'll do the other side. Again, same thing, making sure the edges are all lined up and even, because I've missed it, and then you pull it right side out and you have a little hole that you'll have to flip right again and re-sew that. So just make sure all the layers are together. All right. And what I like about this is I wouldn't necessarily say it's great for running, but if you want to go on a walk or a hike with your kids, and like Angela said, not all leggings have pockets, but some people, you know, it might be summertime and it's hot, so you're wearing a short, and a lot of shorts only offer like the back pocket for your key or something like that, but there's really not an option for your phone.
I was thinking that while she's sewing that, Emily, I was thinking, okay, so I think I need to downsize my walks because I've got my phone in my pants, side leg, and then because I'll usually pull up on the beach, you know, we live right on the water, and my keys are so big, so I end up like, okay, I got my keys, I got my phone, I got my earbuds, I got my glasses just in case, and then my sunglasses and hat. I think I see the problem here. I just need to simplify.
Get rid. I don't want my phone with me a lot if I'm outside, like kind of trying to get away from the phone. I get it if you want, music, podcasts and stuff like that, for sure. All right, so now it will look like this, and then all you do, and you can serge as well. I'm just using the sewing, the SE700, and you can use your serger if you want on the sides. That would be great too. I probably will go over and serge it, but then you just flip it out, right sides out, tuck this out, and then you'll see there is your pocket. Here's your sleeve. There's your pocket right in here. I know it's kind of hard to see on this, but, and then here's the opening. You see all that? And then you just, oh, where did my phone go? Oh, here, well, I don't know where, oh, here it is. It's in hiding in this. All right, so here you go. Put your phone in. And then the little fold just need to kind of tuck it in there. And then even if you, I know a lot of people have the wireless headphones, but you could even add a little buttonhole right here or a grommet and then have your headphones with the wires coming through. So that's kind of what I designed back in the day. And then, yeah, here you go. You got your arm sleeve, phone sleeve, whatever you're going to call it. And my son says, this is for his snack. He says, you're going to put your snacks in here. I was like, yeah, actually, you probably could.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. That's a good idea.
Carry your own snacks in there.
Yeah.
Laura, next thing you know, I'm just thinking of my nephews right now. Next thing you know, his whole football team's going to want these because they're all going to be like reaching for their snacks, you know?
Snack sleeve right here. Sure, guys, we're covered. Put your little Capri in, you know. But yeah, there's my first project, and I know we talked about maybe an option for another one, but for now, I think that's good. We can see what Emily has.
That is so cute. I absolutely love that. So I see there's a pile of people roaming in. Welcome, everyone. We are live. Joanne's here. Hey, Joanne. And I see you do have some friends from Atlanta here. So someone was asking, I love all the weather questions. My mom says that means I'm old, but that's like usually my first thing. And I'm watching Florida was 40 last week, and now it's 80. And Susie, that is probably why you're sick. And in Atlanta, Laura, I flew through there. Well, I tried to. My flights were canceled last week for a couple of days. Were you part of that ice storm that was there?
Yeah. So we got 2 snowstorms. So I know if you're from Georgia, which is very rare. I know I'm from Utah and Colorado, so I know snow and it's different here. So our roads are super icy. We have a lot of hills here, so yeah, it was crazy. My son and I, we had so much fun. I mean, we were outside playing in the snow. I have all his old snowboard gear from when we did live in Colorado. And we were just having so much fun. It just, I don't know. I love the snow. But
I can picture Laura's house right now. All of the snowmen built in the yard.
We had snowmen everywhere. There was a couple of them the sled. Because our house is on a hill, so he would just slide down the hill, back and forth. He'd bring the snowboard down. Yeah, it was very rare to have 2 snow days like that. It was crazy. I know people that live in Georgia, we were all like, "What is going on?"
Yeah. Do you even have a snow plow? So Emily, did you have snow too? Because I know that you had a bunch of snowmen out there.
We did, but it was just like 3 inches on Saturday, so
nothing big.
We haven't had a full snow day here this year, so kids are not excited. Yeah.
Emily like still waiting. All right, well, let's get back to the leggings because I'm very excited about this tutorial.
That armband though, super excited. I was like mesmerized while you were sewing that, and then I was having a little bit of trouble tracking, but when you turned it right side out and it all made sense, I was like, perfect. Love it. Okay. So we're going to another pocket, but this time on leggings. So here we go. I feel like I'm a little bit echoey, but hopefully it's not as bad as it sounds here. All right. So I am going to show you just here what I've cut apart. Oh, a lot of echoing. Ugh. Maybe, is that better? Okay, I think that's better. All right, I'm gonna show you here what I've cut apart from the Legos, or from the leggings, Legos. Ugh. And then we'll go sew this all together, okay? So this was a side of a legging pattern, okay? You know, legging pattern is literally usually a one-piece pattern, all right? You have the single side and then you just sew it together, right? So you have the back of the legging, you have the front of the legging, you sew the backs together, you sew the fronts together, you sew the inseam together, and there it goes, okay? So what I did is I folded the legging pattern in half and I found the center. Okay, then I marked 2 inches from each side of the center to create the center panel, okay? Now, if you're making this is a child size. If you were making an adult size, I probably would go 3 inches from each side of the center to make a wider pocket, okay? Because it's a bigger panel. But on a child size, you don't have as much fabric to play with, and 3 inches looked way too wide. So this is a 4-inch panel plus seam allowance, but I would probably say in an adult size, I would go at least a 6-inch panel. Okay, so 2 inches from each side of the center, and then I marked it and I cut down. So then you have, if you separate that, okay, you have the back side and you have the front side. And then I just cut the back of the leggings. So this is now the back, and I marked it nicely with the B's and F's for front, backs and fronts. And I used striped fabric. What was I thinking? But it doesn't have to line up because the stripes aren't touching each other. So I'm hoping that it will look okay. And then you have the center panel. So the center panel, we're gonna cut into a few pieces. So about just not quite halfway down. And again, this is all just like how you want it, where you want the pocket to be. It's not exact. There is a tutorial for this on Life So Savory. So if you go to Life So Savory and search like pocket on a legging or legging pocket, it will pop right up. So just not quite halfway down, starting from the back, angling towards the front, I made a little bit of an angle on the side, just about an inch angle down. And I'm using dotted mesh. You could also just use your regular, the rest of the legging. Okay, this is the lower leg part. Okay, so this is the bottom leg part. And then again on your pattern, make sure you mark back and front so that when we're sewing this back together, you know which side is gonna match with the back and which side is gonna match with the front. And then also when you're cutting this out, make sure you re-add seam allowance on both the back, the front, and this side panel, the middle panel, okay? So this is the middle panel, the bottom. Then on the top, you're gonna add 2 pieces, okay? So we have the top and the full piece, I cut from striped fabric, and I actually cut different color stripes than I cut the rest, okay? So I cut some darker and added seam allowance here and on the angle. And then I drew a line. This is gonna be my pocket from this line to this line, and using the dotted mesh. So I folded over about an inch above my line. That's gonna be we're gonna fold over the top part of the pocket for the hem, okay? So I cut that out of the dotted mesh, and this will be the pocket pouch, okay? And we'll sew that onto there. So the first thing we're gonna do, the very first thing, is we're gonna hem the top of this pocket. Okay, so we're gonna fold it back 1 inch, and with my cover stitch, I'm gonna hem that pocket. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna sew it on top of this panel that we have here, and we're gonna, from then on, sew as if these are one piece of fabric, okay? And then from there, we'll reassemble this to be a single side piece of the legging, okay? I'm not even gonna complete the legging today. I'm just gonna reassemble this side, and then you can envision assembling the second side of the legging and then sewing it as if you're sewing leggings. Okay, so let me rotate my camera, and I'm gonna take these tissues over with me because I wanna make sure that I'm getting the fronts and backs all put together correctly. and I might need these tissues to help me do that. Okay, so we're gonna go over to the machines and sew this all together. So I need to rotate my camera and we'll get sewing.
All right, while she is rotating, I will make sure that I can see your questions in here, Pam. I agree. Not marking your net can help you. Everyone's talking about marking the wrong sides of the fabric. It really helps a disaster. Prevent a disaster. Is that the better way to put it? Yeah, for sure. So you have any questions for Emily? Drop them in. Laura's still back there too, waiting for you guys, though. I'll bring Emily back up, and looks like she is ready for you.
And I'm hoping that...
Sorry, Emily.
Yeah.
Sorry, Emily. I accidentally had you muted, so I'll start that one more time.
Okay. Sorry. So here I have my cover stitch machine and my sewing machine, and we're just going to complete this project, hopefully using both of these. Actually, let me see if I can also get myself in the view if I pull it back. Sorry, Angela. Maybe you should take me out again for a second.
Okay, I'll take you out for a sec. When I see the thumbs up, we don't want you all to get seasick. Although I see, Lorraine, did you say you're in the car? So you'll be fine, but the rest of us maybe not so much. I know. So what is on your sewing table today, by the way? Because I wanted to let you know that we've got some great shows coming up for you next Tuesday and Thursday. We've got 2 more shows. As you can see, Thursdays are back. And you guys asked for it. Brother delivered. All right, I think she's just about there. Oh, well, she's still setting up her airflow serger. On Tuesday, we talked about the airflow serger, and I reminded you all that when you get that serger, be sure to register it on Brother's site, and you will have access to the masterclass that I did with Kathy Gandy and Kathy Stipe. You have it for a whole year, and it's 14 full episodes. I mean, there's a ton. Did you know you can do a 2-thread overlock on there with like a click of a button? Yeah, so be sure to register your machine. And somebody has said, I saw some questions, how do I get into that class? You have to register. So Emily, you ready for me?
Okay.
All right, back to you.
All right, so here's the pocket pouch. And so the first thing we're gonna do is hem that 1 inch back. All right, so I'm gonna put a couple clips, and like Laura was saying, when you're using stretch fabric, clips are my absolute go-to on that. So I'm going to be using, you could use a stretch stitch or a zigzag stitch. I'm going to be using the cover stitch for the hem and the top stitching on the legging today. I just have a 2-thread, 2-needle top stitch set up on here today. And right before we came on, I was quick changing my serger and the cover stitch from black thread, because of course I've been sewing with dark fabrics all winter, and then I go and cut out leggings of light fabric, so I was quick trying to change the threads. All right, so there we have the 2-needle top stitch hem, and on the back you can see it's still nice and stretchy and ready for that. Okay, so then that is now going to become part of this top panel. Okay, so it's gonna line up with the bottom here. And as we sew this together with the bottom part of the panel, it's all going to probably line up the bottom will be easier. It's gonna become one. All right, so we're gonna sew it as if it's one piece. So I'm just gonna put a couple clips here along the top. And we're now going to sew it to the bottom part of the panel, which is this mesh piece here. All right, I'm going to just scooch over here for a second so I can make sure I'm envisioning this correctly. Back, front, back, front. I want to make sure we've got this lined up. And we will sew this so that it makes sense. And when we undo it, it will be right. Let's see. Okay. I believe I sew this like this. This looks really weird with the angles. But I believe if I sew this and then I let it out, it will now be the straight middle part of the legging, okay? It looks really weird when I have it like this because, of course, it's like an angled piece, right? So it's throwing me off because it's not laying straight. But those angles will then open up to be the straight center part. Okay, so here, this will be the pocket. This is the top of the legging. And I'm not using mesh here because obviously I don't want this part of the legging see-through because this is the top part of the legging. You could also do this bottom panel with the non-mesh, okay? You could do the pocket with non-mesh. You could do it with regular legging fabric. All of these pieces can be with whatever sort of fabric you want. I'm just adding a mesh pocket. You can play around with fabrics however you want. I just happen to have this mesh fabric, so I'm using it as part of this. All right, so I'm going to use now the serger to sew this. I did add a seam allowance after I cut the pattern apart. Wherever you cut the pattern, make sure when you put it back together that you add whatever size seam allowance you plan on sewing. I always use about a 3/8 inch seam allowance. So I added that back. Okay, and then I'm going to top stitch this seam here for a little sportier look with the cover stitch. Okay. And you can, I have like a light pink thread on here because I have multicolored striped fabric going, but you could make it as wild or as blended as you want. You could just be doing white thread. So we have top stitching that you can kind of see, but it's not like super obvious. Okay, so now we're down to just adding the front and the back. Okay, so now I'm going to again make sure that I have this lined up. Okay, so I know the angle went this way. This is the back, this is the front. I accidentally labeled this back, but I crossed it out and put a front. Okay, so this side is the back. So now I'm going to grab the back side of my leggings, okay, which I have this one labeled, and matching the top, I'm going to clip starting here and then clipping down. Okay, and again, I added seam allowance on this cut as well because I cut this pattern. This was not an original cut on the pattern. This is my girls' free legging pattern if you're interested. So I think sizes 2 to 14. And for my daughter Rose, I'm blending a size 10 or a size 8 width and a size 12 length because she is tall and thin, and I'm not going to hem it till she gets home because I don't really know how long I need it because I forgot to measure her before she went to school this morning. All right, so we're going to sew down this leg, and then we'll top stitch that, and then we'll do the front. We'll top stitch that, and we'll have a completed side legging with a pocket, and then we're ready to do the same thing on the second side. All right, so we're going to sew with the same approximately 3/8 inch seam allowance. And now I am going over, when I get to the pocket, I'll have about 3 layers of fabric. So just make sure that you are grabbing that pocket side because that's going to be holding the side of the pocket and you don't want to have holes in your pocket. So just make sure you're getting that.
thinking that not only if we made these for the kids, they would have a little pocket here for their snacks. Now they're going to have one cute for the legs, but I love the different colors on these. Rose is going to just love these, Emily.
Yes. I when I pulled this fabric out, I actually had less of it than I thought, which is why I'm using a different part of the fabric for this panel. I thought I had like a big piece of it and I ended up having more scraps than I thought. But then I don't even have to worry about stripe matching because I'm just using a totally different part of it. And I have enough to, when I cut out the second side of the leggings, I'll have enough to make this exactly the same so that I can stripe match this part down the second side of the legging. And that
oh my gosh, that's so cute. Hey, Glenda has a quick question for you. She wants to know why you made that pocket on an angle.
Simply for style. Simply, you can make it totally straight across.
Style is it.
I think it looks cute on an angle.
I love it. Yeah. Hey, Joanne. Yeah, I do have a stock of mesh, and you know what? I think I'd be embroidering that for sure. For sure.
So I'm going to go ahead and sew this second side on, and then I'll just top stitch both. It's easy to top stitch because it's still open. I'm not sewing anything together. We're still just top stitching flat seams. So I'm just going to go ahead and sew this together, and then I can top stitch both seams, and then we'll be finished. So I'm going to pin this or clip this, and then while I'm sitting here, and then we'll top stitch both those. So yeah, if you have any other questions while I'm doing this, we can answer those.
Let's see what we have. It sounds like Deco went away too, so that's a good thing.
Good.
Mary Lou said this is so cute. Yeah, that is a good question, Glenda, because yes, you could do it straight across too.
Totally.
I have different ones. I have some that are angled, and it is just a styling thing. And then also, I agree with the way you added those pieces of fabric. Some of mine have mesh at the bottom. Some of them have regular fabric. How about you, Laura? Because you're always out running.
Yeah, you know what, they are usually for style purposes are on an angle. You know, the pocket, like even, you know, top brands, you'll see they have the little side and it's an angled pocket. So I think, right, I think it's a style purpose. It's, you know, you think, oh, it's kind of interesting because, you know, a phone is usually straight, but yeah, I never really thought about that.
I know, me either. Susie says hers are all on the angle. Yeah, now I'm gonna have to pay attention.
Yeah, now we're all like, huh.
First time a couple years ago that I put the angle in.
Very cute. All right, so I will. Does anybody have any questions right now? Emily, you when you're finished serging there, I'm trying. I think does it look like you're using a 3-thread overlock or using a 4-thread?
Okay, so now you can see this is coming together. It actually looks like the side of a legging, right? You can see this is the back. It's a little bit bigger. This is the front. My daughter likes extremely low rise. She doesn't like anything to come anywhere near her belly button. So when I fold this over, you can see that it will be pretty low. I mean, this is a very low rise in the front. I actually have to modify the pattern because it is much higher the way it's designed, but that's her preference. So I do it. Now, also a preference will be where do I top stitch the seam allowance, right? So the serger seam, I'm going to choose to fold the serger seam out towards the main legging piece, okay? So I'm gonna pull that serger seam that I just sewed on this back piece. I'm gonna press the serger seam out towards the back, and I'm gonna make sure your presser foot is down. It does not cover stitch well if it's up. I'm gonna make sure with my fingers I'm pressing that serger seam towards the back, and then away from the pocket, because I just don't think I want to be top stitching on top of the pocket as well, because one, that will take away from the pocket space, and two, I don't want to be pulling on those seams while we're using the pocket. So I think it makes the most sense to top stitch on the main legging fabric and not on the pocket fabric. But if you don't have the pocket in there, then which side of the fabric you choose to top stitch on, I think is a preference. But in this case, I'm going to choose to top stitch on the main fabric and not the panel. Okay, so I'll go all the way down. The stripe fabric is a 4-way, pretty heavy athletic knit that I've made leotards out of for my daughter. I think I've made a pair of leggings for myself out of. I've had it for a while, so I actually am not 100% sure of where I got it and what the makeup is, but it's lasted well, it's held up well. I know I made a leotard for my daughter because she's been wearing it all fall to her practices, and so it's nice and thick, heavy duty, and it has really good stretch and recovery, so it works well for leggings.
Emily, are you using you're using the cover stitch right now. Are you using the wide cover stitch, the narrow, or the triple?
I'm using 2-thread narrow.
2-thread narrow. Okay, great.
That's actually my favorite. At the moment, I go in waves. I'll give a close up here in a minute.
So 2-thread narrow. So somebody who is new to using the cover stitch machine, those are the 2 right needles, and it makes a real nice, beautiful narrow stitch. It's great for kids' clothes. And then on the serger, we're using 3-thread or 4-thread overlock.
I was using 4-thread overlock,
which is much sturdier.
Yep.
Somebody's asked about.
It's nice,
looks great.
Stretchy. Yep. Really gives a beautiful look on the top stitch. It's pretty easy to control. Make sure you're stitching where you want to. And then the back, it's hard to see because it's right on top of the serger threads, but is, I have, well, it's white, so you can't see. It's white on white.
Wow.
Yeah, that looks great.
So there you go.
So cute.
So I got to, these are, I think, a little bit long, but I wanted them long more than short.
Absolutely. Wait. Do you have to do like where you hem it like 5 inches now and then you can keep letting the hem out?
I usually just have her wear them long now, and then they just get shorter and shorter on her.
Turn into capris.
Yeah.
I love that.
Ankle, they're like, what is it, the 7/8 leggings or whatever.
Yeah.
That's next year's.
You can create your own style. Everybody's saying they love it. So we have a problem. Everyone's going to want to know where to find that fabric, and it came out of Emily's stash. Sorry, guys, it's in the stash, not for other products.
And it's old. Wherever I bought it probably is not even making it anymore, even if I did have a link for it, because it's probably 4 or 5 years old. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
So cute. Love the design. They love it. Let me see. Marianne question. What's the difference in a cover stitch machine and a serger? Now that is a great question. Oops, I just cut off Emily's head. Sorry.
So, and Angela, feel free to jump in, but the serger actually sews the seams. So it's 2 needles, and those needles sew like a sewing machine, where it gives you the sturdiness of the seam, and 2 loopers, which finish the raw edges of the seam. So when you sew on the serger and you finish sewing, you have a secure seam with a finished edge. The cover stitch is simply for top stitching. So it gives you this top stitch that looks pretty and gives you sort of a finished look on your garment. I don't know if you want to add to that.
No, that's perfect. That's perfect. And a lot of people get confused about that. Let me see if I can get us down here where I'm trying to get us where we're not cutting your head off. Okay, so that is such a great question because of the fact that a lot of people get confused. And there are sergers out there that have serger and overlock, not a brother brand. So you really need to look at what machine you have. I have some friends that they had bought the cover stitch machine and couldn't figure out why they couldn't sew their seams together. Well, it's because the cover stitch is really technically to finish those hems, to make them look nice. You see them a lot of times on decorative hems on your t-shirts and hems on your knit pants and stuff like that. So a big difference, but two great machines. So if you had to pick one to buy first, you would probably want to get a serger first because then you can finish your seams. And a serger actually can do everything you need. The cover stitch just makes your stuff looks beautiful on the outside.
Yeah. And if you sew a lot of clothes, the cover stitch you will use. If you don't sew any clothing, you wouldn't really use a cover stitch.
Yeah, I would be
will give you professional looking clothing.
Professional looking, and I would be lost without my cover stitch. I can't even imagine. So Laura, when you sew a lot of knits, Laura, do you use mostly serger or do you use cover stitch too?
I mainly use my serger. I do have a cover stitch, and I agree. If I'm using that, it's for a top stitch or a hem, anything like that. Or how you make, like Emily made this seam flat, on the top of a legging or something like that. But yeah, I use the serger, and then a lot of times I'll just use my sewing machine if I need to hem something, do a zigzag stitch or whatever, just because it's there and it's easy.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just checking to see if we have any more questions here. Everybody says I like shopping through my stash for projects.
Same.
Oh, beautiful. Everybody says thank you.
Aww.
All right, so we got an echo back, so we have no idea where it's coming from. It comes and goes. It's like what happens in a live show. First it's me, then it's you. All right, so in the meantime, if you all want to leave comments and questions, we will go back and look at those. The social team's always looking at them. So even if you're watching the replay, leave us a note and let us know that you enjoy this. So I'm going to bring up both of their websites here because they have full tutorials on their website. First of all, here is the link for brother dealers. You want to find your brother dealers. See, they have the airflow serger, by the way. They also probably have a great cover stitch machine. I like the double cover stitch personally because then it looks great on both sides. But and we have a lot of fun YouTube videos for you, that tutorials on how to use those. But don't forget, if you get the airflow, to register your machine so you get access to the free masterclass. And here is everybody's website. So brothersews.com. You can go there to see all the new products. Life So Savory. She's got a ton of great tutorials. Emily, you have a free leggings pattern on there too, don't you?
Yes, this is the free kids legging pattern that I'm using. And then I also have a women's one as well. So if you want to make leggings for yourself.
Perfect. 2 of them. So for free. I love it. And Laura has a great blog as well. And she's got that tutorial she just showed you on Life's Trash to Couture right there. And then if you go to angelawolf.com, we are filling in the calendar. We got the calendar for the next month. So you can check out who's going to be joining us, what's happening. And I'm just making sure I'm not missing any last minute questions. Everybody says, thank you. This has been wonderful. I agree. Trisha loves her airflow. Well, in the meantime, be sure to post your photos of what you're making. Brother loves to see what you're working on. And till next time, everyone, happy sewing. And ladies, these were great tutorials. And now I'm going to lighten up my load for when I go for my next walk.
Yes. All right.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.